My biggest message to neurodivergence is you need to own your process, own the chaos, be exactly who you are, your whole authentic self. Because if you're not owning that at the very core of who you are, your messaging is going to be off, your business is going to be off, how you do everything is going to be off.
This is the Born to be Brilliant podcast, helping you harness the habits and unlock the tools to bring you more meaning, vibrance, and the personal power to help you shine like the diamond you are. Hey everyone, I'm so excited to get into the depth of this episode because it's quite close to my heart, the subject of neurodivergence and entrepreneurship, and I often talk about the crossover with that because I think that there's some similarities between being an entrepreneur and being neurodiverse. As many of you know, I always talk openly about my own ADHD, but I'm lucky enough to have a wonderful lady in the studio who knows a lot more about this than I do. Stephanie Ward is in the house. Stephanie, tell everyone what it is that you do.
Thank you so much for having me. So I am Stephanie Ward and I'm the founder of the Spicy Brain Collective and Spicy Brain Energy. My two companies help neurodivergent people in business who have something they are really, really good at, something that they're passionate about that has an impact on the world. What we do is take care of all the back-end business sadmin, as I like to call it, because it's admin, it makes us sad, so that they can just focus on the thing that makes them money. So if they're a coach, we will take care of their website, their CRM, their social media. So they just have to turn up every day and coach their clients and have the impact on the world that makes them feel fulfilled.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So yeah, I mean, let's delve in because our listeners are going to be listening to even that going, oh, that's me. I get that. That resonates immediately right off the bat. And as somebody who struggles sometimes myself with those quirks, let's call them, it can be debilitating, but it can also be an absolute superpower. And I think that it can be sometimes it's the very thing that is why you get where you get, because we will start things that most people won't even start, but then we sometimes have trouble finishing them or seeing them through. Yeah. And then we end up spread too thin and all the stuff gets in the way. But entrepreneurship linked here with neurodivergence. Tell me what you see.
Yeah, I mean, neurodivergent people are more likely to want to be entrepreneurs for a few reasons. Like the first one being that employment doesn't suit them because we are too free thinkers. We see everything differently. And when people try and fix us into a role, it doesn't work for us. It's with my hiring practices in my company, for example, my team are all neurodivergent. And I don't hire like an employer normally would. I don't set a role and find a person for the role. I look for someone who gets what we do, wants to be a part of it, and is capable of doing some of the things we do. I teach them everything, but I let them choose a specialism. But that's really rare to find in employment. So by offering that, I am unusual. So I think a lot of us break away from employment models to go into entrepreneurship. And I think we are driven by the excitement of it's the adrenaline. It's the when we go down the rabbit holes and we get to chase the dopamine to do something that we love. There are so many people who are in the entrepreneur space who do not know they're neurodivergent as well. I'll go to places and they'll be like, oh yeah, I identify with some of the things you're saying. I'm like, yeah, you're probably one of us, honey.
Yeah.
You might want to get that checked. But it's absolutely fascinating to see how many people end up in this space as one of us. And they just don't realize that they are one of us. And the power is like, if you can give it a name, and that doesn't need to be from a doctor, that can be, I see these traits of this condition and resonate with them. That's when you can start to move towards, oh my goodness, I can put things in place to help me. Yeah. So if I am a finisher, what I do is take things over the line because that's what I get excited by. But I'm like the odd one out in the neurodivergent space. Like most people don't like that. So that's why my business fits really well into this space.
Oh, I love that because you understand the typical starter, but you then step up with the completer finisher solution to exactly that. But from that lens of, because a classic completer finisher may not understand the challenge of that, whereas you already do. So you can see the full journey and yeah.
And the thing is as well, the way I see tasks, I call it the neurodivergent task commencement continuum. I invented it. It's my science. It's probably someone else's somewhere, but I've never seen it. And when you've got a task, we see tasks as being like this big lump of hard, right? But it's not actually the whole task that is hard for us. What's hard is the starting and that 10% at the beginning where we lack the confidence or the structure or the motivation to get going. And then at the end of the task, it's the like perfectionism kicks in, or it's the anxiety, or it's like, oh my God, but what if I've missed this? If you can identify what the first and last 10% of any task is that's hard, that's when you can bring in support mechanisms, whether it's another human, whether it's software, whether it's a structure, because the 80% in the middle, you can take care of. If you think of it like a tax return, right? I know how to do my tax returns. I learned how to do that and I've done them before. Do I like doing them? Absolutely not. I would rather gouge my eyeballs out with hot spoons. But if I can have my government gateway ID, I can have my information sorted into the right categories, I can have it all like that bit done at the beginning, that's my 10%. So somebody is sit with me, log into government gateway together and just watch me get logged into the right place with the right numbers. That's my first 10%. My last 10% is having someone to look at the numbers, if they match with these numbers, and say, yes, you did it. Let's get it put in, because I can do the tax return. These days I don't. I pay someone because I have like 4 different tax returns to do and it's awful but I can. And the thing is, there's so many of us that in the beginning we can outsource something later, but right at the beginning we don't have the money to do it. And that's okay. You're allowed to say, I've just started a business and I'm working on a bootstrap here.
Yeah.
But that means that we have to find ways to work for us. And as neurodivergents, I think when we go into business, we also don't see how much goes on behind the scenes. Like if you're in corporate as a marketer, you don't deal with procurement, you don't deal with HR, you don't deal with any kind of logistics, you don't deal with the website development. Whereas when you go to be a marketer as an entrepreneur, that is all your job. And I think one of the biggest weaknesses, I wouldn't say weaknesses, one of the biggest stumbling blocks for a neurodivergent entrepreneur is not knowing where to ask for help, because they don't know what they don't know. So it's having the right help at the beginning. So we can say, this is what you need to do. This is how we can help you to get to this point where you are working autonomously, but also we are helping. Because how important is it that you can run your own business? Like there's nothing worse than the payment link breaking at 7 p.m. on a Sunday and try to drag me out of a karaoke bar to fix it.
Love that.
Just don't try. If you call me, it's after 7 p.m. I may sing to you drunk. I've told my clients this because I own my chaos.
Good for you. I love that. No false pretense. Yeah, you said a line that I use all the time there, which was, we don't know what we don't know. People don't know what they don't know, and which often means we don't know what questions to ask or what the thing is that we need the answer to. And so often this is where we were talking before recording actually a little bit about AI. And so often we will go to AI and look for answers, but we actually don't know what the question is in the first place. So you may not get the right thing back. And you know, having that support, having that just the smallest piece of like, why am I finding this thing really difficult? Is it a skill gap, a knowledge gap, time issue, or like what is it? And somebody who's able to see what that thing is and steer you, guide you, either through breaking it down for you and giving you a roadmap back, or like you said, holding your hand a little bit, going, all right, let's look at this together. Okay, that bit's there. Come back to me at this stage or that bit and check in with you. And that's partly what one of your businesses does, isn't it?
Yeah. So my biggest business, Spicy Burn Energy, is like it's virtual assistant services, but we don't do it like everybody else. So most virtual assistants want to take things from you and take ownership of things. And I find that viscerally uncomfortable, because you are in control of your business. You should always be the boss of your stuff. And if somebody does something or builds a structure that makes them indispensable to your business, that is doing you a disservice, because we should all know how to do everything autonomously. Within Spicy Brain Energy, we are very, very proactive about making sure we don't get complacent, because we don't want someone to feel stuck with us and us not to be fully delivering the best service every day. So we will make sure that they can do things. We will build systems that work for them. But I know that if I don't embrace agentic AI within 5 years, my company will be obsolete, because agentic AI, so we've got ChatGPT, which is our generative AI. We feed information into it and it generates more information. Now, what that does, it can be really useful in terms of a starting point, a scaffold. But a lot of people, like especially autistics, are treating the outputs as facts without seeing it could be biased or seeing that it could be lying to them. So we're losing our critical thinking skills. People with ADHD are using it to soothe things like rejection sensitive dysphoria. So we're using it for the like, oh, good girl, well done, you know? And like we all need to be called a good girl every now and again. Okay, that's allowed. Okay, don't be using OpenAI to feed your praise clink, but I think we do need to actually validate with our own intuition. Neurodivergents are more likely to die from things like constipation because we can't tell the difference between like feeling like need to take a poop and what anxiety feels like. So if we can't even tell our basic physiological needs, how can we trust our intuition on things like our business ideas? So I think what we need, like why this is why I go for agentic AI, because agentic AI, it's an apprentice, it's not an advisor. So it's like if you have an apprentice come from the college, you can say, your job is to take the things from this spreadsheet and put them in this spreadsheet and do it every day. And then if they learn something new, they can come back to you and feed it back. The platform that I'm working with for AI, I'm working with Autumn AI, who are launching hopefully at the end of this month. Their thing feeds all of the little bits of learning back to something called the core. So ChatGPT, if it learns something about you, but it's in a project folder, it won't stick it back in core. So you're having to reprogram these things to help you all the time. And agentic AI will do that for you. So it's taking things away, making things easier, but it's not taking ownership. So what my company is wanting to do is put agentic AI in place to take care of the genuine sadmin that could be done by like a lower level member of staff. Things like scheduling appointments, drafting proposals from transcripts of calls. It could be a case of, pulling out, like if you've had a conversation with someone and there's some key actions, pulling out the actions and putting into your CRM or your project management like software. Because if we have someone or something that can take that, my team's time can be used to focus on the things that really make us human. Because I think we are at risk of losing our humanity by trusting a machine. I'm not a big fan of J.K. Rowling and the things that she has said and done in the way she's behaved, but Ron Weasley's dad and Harry Potter in the Chamber of Secrets, after Ginny's found to be writing in Tom Riddle's diary, said, how many times do I have to tell you, don't trust something if you can't see where it keeps its brain? But we are giving information that is our humanity, our uniqueness, our best work into something that we can't see where it keeps its brain. We don't know how secure that really is. We don't know how much of that is being fed to educate the model and spat out with somebody else tomorrow.
It's so true. And I think this is what people don't necessarily understand. So there's a lot of confusion out there. And I think more so in the business world, people are a bit more in touch with AI and learning about it and recognizing it than they are in the not business world, where I think there's a lot more fear. Certainly there's things to leverage, and I think that I'm an eternal optimist anyway, but I think that my view is like how amazing if we can be alleviated of, as you said, like what did you call them,
Sadmin.
sad men. I love that term. We can get rid of the sad men. We can get certain things taken off our plates, which leverages our time to be more human than ever before. So actually, how awesome is that? I think there's so much hope and possibility, but it's knowing how to do that and how to control that. And that's what is going to become, I think it is already extremely important, and not letting it then, as you say, do the thinking. Not do the thinking. It can do some of the thinking. I like playing around and brainstorming, but you're still the boss brain, and not just taking it as, well, that's that then, AI said.
The thing is, we were all brilliant before we started using AI.
Yeah.
If we use it for the right things, things that don't strip away our humanity, the things that don't take away our soft skills, like neurodivergence are some of the most resilient, creative thinkers in the game. And if we are stripping away our own soft skills, we're gonna lose that advantage. So we need to be working with these systems in a way that embraces how we are, takes away the things that don't make us happy, make us excited. Like I remember when I first started my business, I had no money to put into this. I literally had my boyfriend's old laptop, I had my spare room, and I had an iPad with a keyboard that I got off Amazon. And I used free versions of all the software because I needed to earn before I could spend. But 3 to 6 months in, I was in a position where I needed to start getting things, but I was making the money to cover it. And I think that actually investing in agentic AI getting a platform like that that connects all your stuff together and starts learning about you really early on in your business is an absolute advantage, because then it's almost like you've got an employee right at the beginning, which how many of us actually do that? I don't think anybody does.
No.
It would mean that if you bring in this software, I mean, Autumn starts at like 97 a month. It's not a huge amount. But when you think of how much a virtual assistant is, that would get you 2 hours of my time. So actually, you're getting a lot more out of it. You're getting someone that's on shift all day, every day. So that anytime you did invest in someone like myself or anyone you want to bring in, it means that time is so much more focused. It's so much more like you. It's so much more human. Because one thing that worries me is if we stop criticizing and analyzing our own stuff, can you imagine if you come up with a business idea and you're not quite sure, so you ask ChatGPT for validation because your RSD doesn't know if it's quite there. ChatGPT says, "Oh my God, babes, best idea ever, run with it." And you run with this business idea for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, and realize you absolutely hate everything you've done that time. You ran with it because a robot told you to.
And it probably will, because it typically will just go, yeah, that's great. And here's all the reasons why. I've done things where I've gone, let's see what it will say if I put this in. And it validates it. And then I give it a really good reason to think the absolute opposite. And it's like, oh yeah, that's brilliant reason. And you're kind of thinking, that's not overly helpful. Do you think that this is a bit of an AI conversation, but do you think that there's opportunity here for AI taking these tasks that it can do, and even the agentic AI that you're talking about, amazing, like you said, $97 or pounds a month for a platform that you would only get 2 hours of human time for, and that's there probably running 24/7, right? And that's awesome. Then human skill and human time, I think surely then goes up in value.
It does, because the thing is that if we're not wasting our time doing like the crappy jobs that everybody hates, the things that make us human, the creativity, the compassion, the empathy, the ability to love and nurture and feel joy, like those things, the ability to feel like it's not about being intelligent, it's about being able to use that intelligence in a way that is the best way for it. It's about seeing the problems, seeing all the things that are wrong, and be able to sit in the discomfort and feel into this discomfort and use that discomfort to generate a solution. When I'm having a bad one, because I'm autistic ADHD as hell. It's like when you get through all the bosses on a video game and you get to the big one at the end, that's me. And I'm the chaos goblin, if you like. And for me, it's like I need when I'm having a bad one, I need to go all the way down the doom spiral. Okay, you need to let me go and be rocking in a corner by the end, because when I'm at the bottom, that's when the solutions kick in, and that's when my brain, like, I call it hustling like a crackhead. Okay, because it's like if you say to a crackhead, "You can't have any heroin today," they'll be like, "Damned if I can't." They'll go down a back alley, drop on their knees, suck off their drug dealer, and they'll get that heroin. Okay, but we don't treat our businesses like that, because I think, especially as neurodivergents, we're told about self-care and about looking after ourselves. And I don't we need to. Well, I'm not telling you to not do those things. We absolutely need to love on ourselves. But we also need to see our business as completely essential. And sometimes, we have to push through. I'm not saying do it every day. I'm not saying hurt yourself. I'm not saying burn yourself out. But sometimes we need to push ourselves into uncomfortable spaces so that we can fix things, so we can hustle, so we can bring this back. I didn't get to where I am from just sitting and sulking in the corner. I have sat and sulked in the corner occasionally, but I use that energy to hustle like a crackhead and get myself out of the hole with the solution that ultimately moves the needle and drives things forward. And I can proudly say, I've been doing this for 5 years. It works. Is it optimum? Absolutely not. But it works, and I use it because it works.
I don't know one single highly successful person in all the different definitions of success. Everyone defines it differently, but I don't know one single person that has achieved and accomplished great things who hasn't had to just dig really, really flipping deep, go through hard things, and no one will tell you that it's been a walk in the park and it's come easy. And I think there's a lot of entitlement attitude out there, and I think sometimes people getting into business or thinking just because you see the social media highlight reel and going, oh, I thought it was going to be easy, and it's like, Business and easy, not in the same ballpark.
No, no, and it's like it's okay to not want to do the hard work. That's why people
Yeah,
bring me in at the end of the day. People don't want to do the day-to-day grind sometimes, and that's why they bring in support. But like it's good that they can do it. Like being
yeah,
able to do the good work and wanting to do it are two different things. Like we have it's acknowledging that we're not scared of it. We have to do it. We just don't want to do it all the time.
yeah.
And being able to dig deep when you've got nothing left and really push through and get it over the line. That's the skill of a true entrepreneur. It's knowing how to balance things out afterwards. And as neurodivergence, we tend to crash out harder. So it's knowing what do you need after a big push to make you be well. I know that the last 3 days I've been very deeply involved in this event because I'm here in LA for Top Talent Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And I've very much been digging deep. I've done 2 14-hour shifts. I was up till 10 p.m. the day before helping with setup, which I absolutely love doing. I love being in these environments and feeling the buzz. I've made friends with half of the staff at studio instrument rentals. I've really pushed myself. Today, my legs are sore, my feet hurt, and I'm a little bit tired. So I'm speaking to you today, and then I'm going to have a float about in Melanie's pool later. We're going to do some talking about a few things because we've got some stuff to chat over. And then I might be going over to Sherman Oaks for another podcast interview, or I might not. She's meeting someone on his yacht tomorrow. I might go and sit on his yacht tomorrow. But I'm just very much, I know that I've pushed myself. I know I'm a little bit depleted. And I know as the day goes on, I will be tired. So what do I need to do today to make me feel good? Because I've spent 3 days making other people feel good. And it's okay to just own your process. I very much own the chaos goblin in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And people like that. When people can see themselves in you, they're going to give you money because they know that you're the safe space for them.
Yeah. Oh, it's not quite the same as the event you've been at in LA, but I hit the shops on Black Friday. I don't often go to shops because I find it too stressful, overstimulating and crazy. But I was meeting my mum and it was fine until it wasn't, until it got too busy. But I actually drove away going, overstimulated, and all I'd been craving all that week had been just to get out because I'd been at my desk a lot. I'd had a lot of work to do, been very much head down. I was like, I just want to get out. Like even just interacting with a shop assistant and a person, a random chance conversation. Like I love that. Lights me up. Connection, communication. I absolutely love it. And I needed it. And then it was like, too much. I need to go back to my cave now and just calm, quiet. Just I need alone time. And it's knowing that about yourself and knowing that that's fine.
Yeah, so I do something called the floor nest. There's actually a video of it on my social media somewhere because my Instagram lady, when she came over, I was like, I need some floor time. She was like, show me what that looks like. And it's basically I have a chair, so I elevate my legs because I've got low blood pressure. So I sometimes need to actually put my legs above my head and do this. Legs go on the chair. Then I've got a Shakti like lower back sort of lumbar support that I put on the floor, which spikes me. Then I've
Nice.
got a pillow I put under my head, a fluffy rug that goes under my shoulders, and a blanket that goes over me. And I have floor time. And I've got Alexa, so I'll say like, I'll play this song and it'll put a song on. And I'll just sit there and sing quietly while lying on the floor. And one of my friends, Washington, genuinely didn't believe that this was a good thing. I was like, Wash, you need to just lie on the floor sometimes, right? This guy called me about 2 weeks ago. He's like, okay, floor time's a thing. I was like, floor time's a thing. I've got no problem with going in the middle of the day when I'm feeling the wobbles and lying on my floor and just owning that for a minute.
Yeah.
Because having that 5 minutes out to just lie on the damn floor
Yeah.
is enough to get me back up. Because when you're on the bottom, the only way back is back up. So it feels like mentally, it feels like I'm physically elevating myself after floor time. So it's
Yeah.
quite a good thing for my mindset as well.
It's so good. And I guess that could look different for different people as well. They could have their own version of that. And it's the thing that it's like grounding a little bit, isn't
Yeah,
it? Like
it is. It
if what
is.
works for you.
Yeah.
Um,
You could
and
dangle from monkey bars upside down if that makes you happy. You
yeah.
know, you could just go and sit and read a book. You can, my method used to be what I called procrastinacking. So I used to go and have a wee, make a coffee, grab a snack. And it was just the physical moving away from the desk and
Mm,
getting things was that used to really help me. Now I just lie on the floor because actually that's more powerful for me right now. It's okay to change as well. I think,
mhm.
if you find something that works for you right now and you run with that for 3 months, it's okay for your brain to chase novelty. It's
Yeah.
all okay to want newness, uniqueness. So it's okay to change it up after a few weeks if you want to do something different. It's
Mm.
okay to expand on that. It's okay for it to become a whole damn ritual. But I think
Yeah.
my biggest message to neurodivergence, if any time I see them, is you need to own your process.
Yeah.
own the chaos, be exactly who you are, your whole authentic self.
Mm.
Because if you're not owning that at the very core of who you are, your messaging is going to be off. Your business is going to be off. How you do everything is going to be off. And people
Yeah.
are going to be identifying with someone who is not you because you're not showing them your whole
All
self.
of you. Yeah.
People buy from people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's true, right? You can find yourself just apologizing for it. Or I've definitely done that where I've like, yeah, okay, I know that I'm being like this or doing this and feeling bad for it, feeling sorry, to those around you, even in your personal life. And you're like, wait a second, let's actually own it and embrace it. And invite those around you to as well. I think that can be difficult though for people when the way you may be or respond to things is stressful to them. They find that stressful because it's like how do you manage people, loved ones, if they find your ways stressful?
Yeah, so it's really interesting they say that because quite a few of my neurodivergent clients aren't like out of the proverbial closet as neurodivergent to their family because their
Mm,
family wouldn't get it.
right.
And it's, I think it's sometimes we have to have a few. I don't like to encourage masking because I think masking can be very exhausting. But I think sometimes we have to have personas we take on, put on and take off. So my business persona, like, is as authentic as I get in terms of I embrace the badass side. My business self is more dominatrix stuff. Okay, so
Mhm.
I am the whip cracker. I will emasculate the most fragile, mediocre man because I can do that. I have to own that because the space I move in within tech is quite male dominated, right?
Mm,
But when it comes to like family and stuff, so I have two kind of downtime steps. I have family Steph who can smile and laugh with the stories, but I also have like toddler Steph, if you like. So that's the real unmasked, non-business me. And I need someone to make the decisions for me, to make sure I eat regularly, and to just snuggle me.
mm.
Because when I'm in business, I need to be very in this business. It's still very authentic and very me, but
Yeah.
it's just a different facet. It's bringing
Yeah.
different set of my skills to the desk. When I've done that all day, I just need a safe place to land. And I
Yeah.
think when it comes to family, I don't necessarily. It's not that I'm not authentic with my family. It's just that I have to work with their own undiagnosed neurodivergence that they don't know they've got that. My dad is a deep sea oil and gas pipeline engineer. Okay, he is extremely talented. He is also severely autistic, socially inept. Bless him. I love him, but he is. But he's very kind of very fixed mindset. He has a lot of opinions that very much clash with mine. And
Mm.
when I'm out in the business world, I am very, anti-racist, pro-life in terms of if you are alive, you deserve to be loved on. But also I am pro-choice in terms of I have very
Mm.
extreme and passionate views on like how I feel. It comes to living your life in a way that makes you happy, whether that's your gender presentation, whether it's being confident in the skin you're in. I'm all for you are who you are, you're perfect. My dad has some quite antiquated views, and it's not because he's a hateful person. It's because he was an autistic raised at a time where those views were not challenged or treated as anything other than fact. So trying
Mm.
to reprogram a 69-year-old man to have the views I have is too much. So I will I say, well, we're not going to have this conversation. Can we just maybe not talk about Nigel Farage and go on a different go in a different direction? Have you seen all the lovely skirts in Asda lately?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
taking it
yeah.
off because
Know your audience, isn't it? Like,
yeah, and it's kind of just it is about knowing your audience and actually protecting your energy. And if being authentic with loved ones who don't get it, it doesn't protect your energy. It's whether the cost of masking can be offset with the opposite. So
yeah.
that's quite a difficult internal struggle to come to terms with, and there isn't a right answer for that.
Yeah, I know, but you're right because I think regardless of how your brain is wired, we all show up as different parts of ourselves to different things, whether it, professionally, as a mum, as a wife or partner, or, we're friendships, everything. We're kind of bringing a different set of our skills, personality, and everything to the table in those different places. They're all real and all parts of us. But yeah, sometimes we need to make sure we are bringing the right thing into the right audience, and not you don't approach your I don't know small children with your business badass self.
Yeah,
Or it's a
yeah, that would
different
scare
version.
small children. That
Yeah,
would scare the
exactly.
toddlers. We don't
Could you
scare the
imagine?
toddlers.
Can you imagine? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's actually something to be. It's really good to talk about that because we don't always see all those parts. And some people are really afraid to explore the different wirings, and you can see it. You can see it in other people. What about overwhelm? And because I think that, well, this isn't exclusive to ADHD, but I know that it crops up. But I think a very busy entrepreneur, especially mums who are in business as well, with the amount of plates that are spinning, like overwhelm's a thing for everybody. And you know this because your business is, built to help alleviate a lot of that. I call overwhelm paralysis is something that I've kind of named as a thing where I go, it's too many things that and then I freeze and it's like nothing. And
It's
this could be,
buffering.
yeah, this could be tabs open on my computer, of which there are always far too many times multiple windows. Or it could be just around the house where it's like, hang on, I'm carrying this laundry and then I'll just put that there and do that. And then I come back and go, oh, it's still there because uh, too many things. Or you just freeze up and can't move. And I physically stood still before where I've gone, do one thing. I can't pick parking spaces either. I'll be like,
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
that one, no, that one. It can be really debilitating when you're trying to like get multiple projects over the line, or you've got team who need you, and you can feel very divided. Yes, there's a productivity piece there, and yes, there's systems and processes and all those things, but even with all of that, it's really, really real. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely thoughts on that. So, one thing that I say to people when they are very overwhelmed, when you are sitting there, you know you've got to get things done, you need to break that cycle. So, do literally something else,
Mm,
literally anything
cut
else.
and
So, the first
interrupt.
thing to do is walk away, go and have a procrastinate snack
Yes.
or have a cup of coffee and break out of that. Give yourself space. Go and have floor time if floor time is great for you, okay? And then you come back to your desk. Do not do this without support. I've tried many times. Even if you just have your friend on the phone, be like, I need to pick one thing. Okay. So, like, something I do with clients, which is like, if they're trying to price something and they don't know how to price it, I'll tell them it's £69,
Yeah.
right? Because they'll either have a visceral yes or a visceral no. Okay. So, even having someone to make suggestions is really helpful. But I've got a whole framework called the MEDS framework. Okay. Four things. When you are overwhelmed or dysregulated, it can work from over all kinds of the spectrum of overwhelm and dysregulation. Do you need motivation? Do you need someone to go, come on, you have done this before, Lucy. You know exactly how to do this. You are a badass boss queen. Get in the game. Do you need empathy? Do you need to sit and cry and have someone to just hold space, hold you, and just go through the feelings with you? Do you need to be distracted? Do you need some cat memes? Because I have got a collection of memes that I can fire at you. Usually people need one of those three things first. The fourth one is solutions. But most of the time, until you've had one of these three, you can't move towards finding a solution that feels comfortable. So the solution might be, once you've had one of these three things, is to say, do either any of these things that you've got on your list feel good? And if they say, if you do make the bed, like wash the dishes, sweep the floors, for example, of housework, you might think, I want to do none of those. I'm going to do laundry. So it'll either give you a suggestion of what you can do or make you realize what you absolutely don't want to do and push you in the right direction anyway.
Mm,
So, what's the one smallest thing that you can do right now that drives you forward in some way that doesn't make you want to gouge your eyes out with hot spoons? Something small. And it could just be a case of looking at the first email in your inbox and tackling it.
yeah.
A really good thing that one of my friend's sons, so Luke's about 24, he's a very capable individual, but also a complete derp a lot of the time. He's a lot like me in some ways. He did some research into things like medications and supplements, and this applies to whether you've got ADHD or not. It applies to sort of morning routines. So if you've got something that makes you feel good in the morning, do that while doing your first work task. So having a cup of coffee is what makes you feel good in the morning. Get your coffee, and as you're drinking that coffee, start doing the thing that you need to do that day, because your brain will associate the good feeling from the coffee
Mm,
with the task you're doing. So if you take ADHD medication, if you take that at 8 a.m., at 8 a.m., you start just pushing yourself into doing the thing you need to do that day, because then your brain will be like, oh, I really want to do this. And it will keep doing that for the rest of the day and associate the good feeling from it with the task, not the medication.
that's really good. Yeah, I like that. I think that the challenge is when you like you want to do it all.
Mhm.
That you're like, I want to do that and that and that, and there's no lack of motivation, and it's like, yes, this and this and this, and all of it needs to be done now.
And there's
Which
the
isn't
shit
true.
sandwich as well. You know, you
Yeah,
can make a shit sandwich. You can find a good thing that makes you happy, a
yeah,
thing that makes you less happy but is important, and then a good thing that makes you happy at the end. So you can sandwich hard tasks with
yeah,
things that give you dopamine. So it could
yeah,
be, oh, I really like doing like silly Instagram reels. I'm gonna do a silly Instagram reel, then I'm gonna do my inbox, and I'm gonna post the silly Instagram reel.
yeah.
So it's how do you sandwich the harder tasks into that? I've also got something which I call the brick method. So you know when people say like spoon theory? Like, I don't know who has enough spoons to make this make sense. So spoon theory, and if anyone doesn't know what that is, essentially it was a woman who was in a restaurant trying to explain her chronic illness to a friend who wasn't chronically ill. And she gathered up all the spoons on the table and said, okay, I got dressed today, there's 3 spoons gone. I did this today, I've got 5 spoons gone. Now I've got to do this whole day and I've only got 2 spoons left. I don't like that because how do you count how many spoons go onto things? And I don't have
Mm,
that many spoons. So every autistic's got Lego bricks though. So what we do is I assign it to bricks, and each brick has a different size and a different like notation of what that means. So the small bricks with the 4 dots on, they
mm,
are a 30-minute task,
mm,
maximum 30 minutes. No, 15, sorry. 15 minutes for those ones. You can have 4 of those a day. So that could be reply to this big juicy email. It could be email this proposal to a person. Now, what's really cool about these tasks is if they are similar tasks, you can stack them, but you don't get more bricks.
mm,
Then if you've got the medium-sized bricks have got 8 dots. They are 1 hour tasks. You're allowed about a 10-minute startup and cool down for each one. So there you're kind of like, you know, what the way I do this is kind of like small brick, medium brick, small brick, big brick, small brick, medium brick, small brick. So the
mm,
big brick is like your chunk of the day, your like 4 hour task. So that's the thing that you put towards like once you've settled in the morning, take that one out of the way. That can have some prep time, it could have some cool down, but that's where the majority of focus is needed. So
yeah,
say you were writing the emails for a launch sequence, that would be your 4 hour task. So you
yeah,
would lock in and go through those, and then you get to do like small brick, medium brick, small brick, big brick, and then you get a small brick, which could even be a dopamine chasing thing afterwards as a reward, and then a
yeah,
medium, then a small. So it's giving you these bricks, but I say you can stack them and build them and grow them into bigger things, but you
mm,
don't get more bricks. And I think
mm.
having the boundaries around that for neurodivergent who can say like, this brick makes sense to me is a lot easier than spoons. Because how do we allocate spoons to things? Why
Yeah,
has it got to be spoons?
I
Like, why,
prefer
normally I need a
bricks.
fork. I need to be a bit stabby, you know? It's like,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And this is exactly what we need as business owners that are working largely for ourselves. There isn't a boss breathing down your neck. We're working from all over the place, whether it's an office, a home office, or a cafe. Nobody is there going, come on, I need that on my desk. Or if you decide to go, I don't know, go in the supermarket for something and you get lost in there looking at all the things that you don't need, you kind of on your own time, and no one's going to tell you off for that. And so it can be, this is discipline. Like, we need discipline anyway as a business owner. Yeah, just having discipline is vital anyway as a business owner, but it's like turned up a notch when you know that you can get distracted or suffer from these things that can derail you otherwise. Likewise, knowing when it's time to step away, take a break.
yeah. And discipline feels like a really uncomfortable word sometimes
It
because it's
does.
like we feel like it doesn't feel like the right word, but I agree you do need to be disciplined. And I think when I think of discipline, I think of I need to get these things done. But actually, sometimes discipline is can I make space for myself to get out of this funk, knowing that I'm going to continue this later? So it is having that discipline to make sure you come back to something as well.
Yeah.
Owning that, owning the hard, owning what you need to do, but having that discipline where you will make sure that the thing is done. And I will never encourage anyone to ride the adrenaline, but also sometimes we need to ride the adrenaline.
Mm.
And it's like sometimes like if someone says they need to do it, I say, do that this time. Next time, we're going to put structures in place so you don't get to the point where you need to ride the adrenaline
Mm. Mm. That's really
because
good.
it's a good motivator, but it's very uncomfortable afterwards.
I bet. Oh, I love this conversation. I know listeners who will be like, "Oh my God, this is me. And it's about time actually I got some support with this," because I think too many of us are so stubborn and or think that no one will understand. No one else will really properly understand. And I love that there are people like you and the work you do in your businesses that do understand and are there to support. Like, if you had one key message to give our high performing entrepreneurs as a takeaway to leave them with, what would it be?
So my big one is always the mantra that I live by every single day. It is start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, and don't spend it till you've made it. So start exactly where you are. Use exactly what you have, whether that is your skill set, whether that is your tech, whether that is your brain, and just do the best you can. And if the best you can do today is 30 minutes of email admin, you did your best. But I will never encourage anyone to invest in solutions until they're ready for it, because I think that is how a lot of us get into trouble. And that's how 45% of businesses in the US and the UK fail by year 5. So it's about what can we do with what we have right now to make money so that we can bring in the help quickly. One thing I would love to share with the listeners as well is that I have a free community. It's called the Spicy Brain Collective. You can find it at community.thespicybraincollective.com. Every Monday morning, we do something called a rousing pep talk. And yes, I call it arousing because it sounds funny, but it's like when you are working for yourself, you don't have like a staff meeting with, all the people around the water cooler. So I bring them all together and we get anything between 5 and 25 people there at a time. There's 300 members at the moment, but we just love on each other. But the thing is that if you've got something that you need, there are also other people in there that need things as well, that might need what you have. So there's a lot of skill swapping goes on there. There's a lot of mutual support. There's a lot of just random calls with one another, offering support, because finding your people and finding support is vital, because that's what helps you to keep going on your worst days. So that's what I would give to them.
I love that. That's a beautiful gift. Absolutely. Find your people, connect. Human connection is so underrated and so important. Love that. Steph, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all of this with us today. I've thoroughly enjoyed it and I know we'll be having many more conversations.
We absolutely will.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, and remember, go out there and shine your light bright because you were born to be brilliant.